Freya is one half of the new voice-acted companions in Conan's new Age of Heroes update. If you want her to join your ranks, you'll have to complete her questline, and today I'm going to teach you how to do just that. Spoilers ahead for Freya's questline. Firstly, quest requirements. To complete Freya's story you will need the following: combat gear, healing supplies, supplies to survive the volcano, a base with a respawn point, and a base with a tavern. I also recommend you have a base in the Highlands, access to a light source and a one-handed weapon, and you are level 30 or above. I completed the quest at level 40 with an epic katana, silent legion armor and an agility build. It wasn't too hard, but I think being above level 30 will be fine. You could potentially do it below that mark though. For all steps in this quest, make sure you always exhaust Freya's dialogue until the only option remaining is goodbye, then you will know that there is nothing more left to say to her. This will also ensure that you hit any of the triggers needed to progress the quests. Also, it should be noted that at the time of recording, the update is still in the early stages of beta, and this quest has two main bugs. Firstly, companions recruited by players in a clan may not spawn with the perks they should have. You can avoid this by, of course, not being in a clan. Secondly, Freya will sometimes be made a thrall without her sword. I had this issue, but you do get the recipe for the sword itself, so you can craft it as a workaround until that bug is fixed. If you're watching this at a later date, it may have already been fixed. I'll try and keep the pinned comment updated if and when it is resolved. So, let's get into the guide. To start Freya's quest, head over to Freya's hovel in map square G9. You can find Freya knelt beside the bonfire at the centre of the camp, and she will tell you that a group came through, set her hut alight and kidnapped her husband, Angvar. Choose any of the dialogue options aside from goodbye and she will eventually give you your first task. Firstly, you need to search the nearby bodies for clues. The interact prompt can be a little buggy here, and if there's nothing on the body then it won't actually tell you, but it does most definitely work. The bodies are at these spots, and the body that has the note seems to be random as I've had it on multiple bodies. When you have it, it'll pop into your inventory and return to Freya with the note and tell her about it. Her husband has been taken away to Stormwatch. She'll ask you to head there and investigate, though she isn't ready to join you yet. Stormwatch is found on the north side of map square E9 on the ridge around New Asagarth. Head over there and you'll find a few enemies. Clean out the camp and head inside the hut, where you'll find a journal, a note and a bag of coins on the table. Take all three and head back to Freya's hovel. Tell Freya of the notes you found. She doesn't recognise the seal, but decides to head to New Asagarth to speak with the tribal elders. She must do this alone, and tells you she will meet you at your camp in the next few days. The real world wait time is 8 hours and it's real time, so you can be entirely offline and this timer will still tick down. After 8 hours, Freya will show up at your base. It seems she will appear at whichever base you have an active respawn point at. She tells you that New Asagarth were no help, so she's going to get her strength back and then save Angvar. She instructs you to help her and meet her at the hovel when you're ready to hunt. Return to Freya's hovel and she'll be waiting for you beside the fire. Talk to her, tell her you're ready to hunt and she will join you temporarily as a follower, and you need to help her get reacclimated to her sword. First, hunting rabbits. You'll need to command her to attack the 3 rabbits to the east of her home, wandering around the foot of the cliff. She will ask to talk when this task is complete, and then she will instruct you on the next one. The second part is she wants to hunt animals that can actually fight back. She also needs 3 ingredients to make a poultice for her wound: fire moss, singe root and Atali's kiss. She will call these ingredients out if she spots them whilst travelling. Head south from Freya's hovel and order her to attack any roaming boars you see. She'll also spot the first ingredient for the poultice here. If she doesn't immediately spot it, walk her around the spot a bit and then she will find it.
Ah yes, another ingredient.
When she has seen it, she will stop and harvest it herself. Head east up the path onto Tellis Island, where Freya will find the second ingredient in the centre. She only needs to kill 3 animals to fulfill that part of the quest, so order her to kill any boars or predators that you see. Finally, head north past the hovel and up to Lockstone Cave, where you'll find the final ingredient after fighting off the children of Jill. There may be multiple locations for the ingredients. I did spot other places where ingredients she had already collected had spawned, but this route was just the one that worked for me. Freya will tell you the fighting has tired her out and that she will seek you out later once she has rested. This is another 8-hour time gate, and she will then appear at your base once that timer has elapsed. Freya arrives at your base, complaining of a festering wound that is getting worse and disturbing dreams. She tasks you to help her hunt 4 large prey: a bear, boar, wolf and elk. She will return to her hovel until you are ready to begin. Meet her there and tell her it's time to hunt, and she will join you and give you instructions of roughly where to find each beast. Search these areas for the relevant animals. Freya will point them out when she sees them.
Those antlers are a prize for any hunter.
You can always interact with Freya to see her dialogue options, and the remaining available options will tell you which beasts you have left to kill. After you've slain the 4, Freya will say she feels better. Next, Freya will ask you to build a campfire. It seems that actually building a campfire is bugged in the beta. Again, I will update the pinned comment if this gets fixed, but for now you can head back to the campfire at Freya's hovel to complete this step. Freya will say a prayer to Ymir and see a vision in the smoke. Talk to her once she stands up and she'll realise her sword is cursed. She needs to spend some time on the Wheel of Pain to think, and will leave, telling you she'll find you when her head is clear. You may end up with a duplicate Freya knelt beside the fire, and she will give you the next line of dialogue, but it won't actually start that part of the quest, so ignore that, just count the 8 hours. After the 8 hours, Freya will turn up at your base. Talk to her and she'll tell you things have become clear after her time on the wheel, and will instruct you to meet her at the volcanic forge to cleanse the sorcery from her sword. Head up to the volcano and enter the Well of Skelos. You'll find Freya looking over the forge just before the steps down to the forge sanctum. She will tell you she's ready, and if you are, agree to start. She will then join you as a companion. Lead Freya to the forge and she will dip her sword into the lava, spawning about 4 or 5 large demons in waves. Defeat them and talk to Freya. Her sword is cleansed of the curse, but now she is weak and must rest again for another 8 hours. Return to the hovel after 8 hours and speak to Freya. She knows the residents of New Asagarth have been lying to her about a witch and asks you to help her besiege the settlement. Agree and head over to the entrance to New Asagarth in map square F10, where you'll find Freya stood beside the Vanir totem. Speak to her and she'll join you as a companion again, saying you two will have to find Elder Haggarth for answers. Fight through the settlement here. If Freya takes too much damage, she'll retreat back to the totem outside the camp, and you can pick her up and carry on where you left off. Make your way to this hut and fight Elder Haggarth. When you defeat him, he'll drop into a downed state. Talk to him and he will eventually be possessed by Hulda the Witch, who tells you to meet her at Nordhof, overlooking New Asagarth. After the conversation with Haggarth, talk to Freya again and she will tell you she's not certain she believes Hulda and will go to rest. This is another 8-hour time gate. She will show up in 8 hours time, but this time she requires a tavern to show up, so make sure you have one built. When Freya has appeared at your tavern, speak to her and agree to fight Hulda. Head up north to Nordhof on the western side of map square F10 overlooking New Asagarth. You'll find Freya just north of the outpost. Talk to her there and confirm you're ready to rescue her husband. Freya will turn into a fighter with close to 2000 health. You can't hurt her, but you can stagger her and she can stagger you, so be careful around her. Once the camp is clear, approach Angvar at the top. He becomes possessed by Hulda and attacks. Aid Freya in killing him. If Freya dies, she will respawn a few minutes later outside Nordhof in the same place you started this segment of the quest, and it will pick back up from there. Once Angvar is dead, approach the transitory stone on the western side of the camp, and Hulda will possess Freya too. Fight her until she gets to low health, at which point she will go down and regain control of her body, bringing herself back up and breaking Hulda's protective bubble. Kill Hulda, and finish up the questline by talking to Freya and allowing her to join your ranks. As a reward from this quest, you will get Freya as a follower, starting at level 5 with a level cap of 20. You will also learn the recipe to craft her sword, and I'm going to apologise because I'm going to horribly butcher the name of this sword, Hjorthriml, an old Norse term meaning the sword warrioress, and the name of a Valkyrie in traditional Norse mythology, which suits this quest rather well. You get the recipe for the regular and epic version of the sword, and the recipe itself is character bound, not ancestral knowledge. Now, something interesting about these companions is that they receive perks based on their questline. However, the perks also depend on the choices you make at certain points in the quest. For Freya, those points are during the trophy hunt for the 4 beasts, at the battle at the volcanic forge, and the final battle when Freya is possessed. If you do more damage than Freya during the trophy hunt, she will get the Resolute perk, giving her plus 15 to strength and vitality. If she does more damage than you, she gains the Carnage perk, causing her attacks to inflict bleed and to provide a small heal to her too. If Freya defeats the demons at the volcanic forge, she gains Savage Swings, making her attacks unblockable. If she goes down during that battle, she gains Unrelenting, making her invulnerable for 5 seconds when she reaches 30% health. Finally, if you break Freya's possession with a deadly weapon, she gains Bloodbath, causing enemies killed by Freya to heal her. If you break the possession with a concussive, non-lethal blow instead, she gains Knocked Loose, making her attacks bypass an additional 20% of armour and stagger enemies for longer. Freya's quest is quite involved and takes a good chunk of time, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't invested the whole way through. The performance from Freya's voice actor is stellar the whole way, and I was really impressed with how tight the story was, alongside the twists I didn't really expect. I've deliberately tried to leave out as many pure story spoilers as possible for this quest. It's best experience on a blind run, but even with this guide you should hopefully still enjoy the story. If you ever want to replay Freya's quest, Freya will respawn at her hovel a while after the quest is marked as complete, and you can interact with her there to start her questline anew and earn another Freya follower. And there we have it, the quest guide to unlock the new Freya companion, the crafting recipe for her sword and all of her perks. I'll also be working on a guide for unlocking Lu Fei too. Make sure you subscribe for all the best Conan Exiles Age of Heroes coverage, and if you want to see the videos early before anyone else and support the channel directly, do check out the Patreon linked in the pinned comments. On that note, thank you for watching, and of course a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. Let me know what you think of Freya and her questline down in the comments. Again, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.